The following announcement is paid for by the Wrestling with Nerds.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
The name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, and you're watching the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. I don't know why, but you are.
What's going on, wrestling nerds, and welcome to the special live edition of the Wrestling with Nerds podcast. There won't be a Friday episode because we're doing it tonight for obvious reasons. If you saw last night's Survivor Series WarGames, you kind of know why. Does any of you guys want to break the news? Because there's a huge elephant in the room, and it's neither the three of us.
Should I just move out of the way? Do you see what was about to happen behind me?
No, you guys are missing it. The biggest return last night.
R-Truth!
R-Truth and the potato chips.
That was funny. I love Tozawa, by the way. What, like
the ruffle shuffle.
We gotta do the ruffle shuffle, baby. We gotta do the ruffle shuffle.
That was hilarious. But so really,
Randy returned. DJ, is that what you're talking about? Randy
did return.
Randy came back
with a really good kind of swerve moment because we were expecting Randy, and here comes Rhea, and I was like, oh shit.
Randy's return was perfectly timed with costing Damian to cash in, but let's not also pass over the fact he's been out of the ring for a year and a half. He is without a doubt in the best shape of his life at this moment, in my opinion.
No shit.
He is as chiseled as what he was during the WrestleMania 25 build with him and Hunter, but he's packed on the pounds to protect. I think it's more to protect himself in the ring because of him being such that skinnier, lengthy figure.
Yeah,
it's probably why the back took the blows that it did. I mean, you look at Hulk Hogan, he landed on his ass for 30 years and now he can't walk straight. Randy was dealing with that same thing with his back. I think adding the muscle is going to help. But he looked good. Just a tiny bit of ring rust. I mean, he's been working out probably at the Performance Center and everything, but you could just tell that it was just a little bit past where he's comfortable yet. But once he gets there, man, Randy Orton's back to being one of the top dogs again.
Not gonna lie, after like the first minute or two at the snap, what are they called? Snap suplexes?
Snap power bombs or power slams. I'm sorry.
Power slams. After those, and after his first DDT, I was like, okay, he's feeling it. And then by the end of the match, I felt like the ring rust was basically gone.
Yeah, Randy Orton is without a doubt, in my opinion, the best pro wrestler in the business as far as how smooth he is with everything that he does. He's not your ground wrestler and all that kind of stuff. He's not going to beat you with submission holds. But everything Randy Orton does in the ring is so smooth and crisp and is almost perfection every single time.
I think I said it last night. I know the three of us weren't watching together. I was watching with the race team. But I said to them, I don't think there's anybody more smooth in the ring ever than Randy Orton.
No.
It's like he was born to do it.
To get that smooth. I mean, let's be honest.
He's been
always
smooth. Yeah.
He's always been so crisp and clean in the ring. Like, you very rarely see a Randy Orton screw up in that sense. But I mean, let's go on with the beginning of this in the beginning of this show. I mean, we opened up with the women's war.
We're not going to talk about the pachyderm.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. We might as well save that for last because if we start talking about it now, we ain't ever gonna finish.
Okay,
No.
we won't pile on the pachyderm yet.
Here's the thing: if we talk about it now, we just gave the people what they wanted at the beginning, and then they'll leave.
Yeah.
But if we wait,
I mean, the women's War Games match.
holy
all in
shit!
all, it was probably the best match of the night.
That might have been the best.
I don't think that's a hot take, Ryan. I think that's just the truth. That's a spoiler.
The only thing that ever bugs me about these War Games, and I loved old War Games because I loved that the cage was closed, but the cage being open allows for them to have their spot fest in a sense. And I'll take it from one of my buddies. He said it last night as soon as he posted it. He's like, I've never stood in the ring and waited for somebody to jump on me. That part to me gets a little mundane because there was a lot of waiting around for people to jump on him last night. That was my one take after he said it and I thought about it and I went back and looked at it. Shout out to Shane. The standing around waiting to get hit just makes no sense.
Yeah, there was a good 30 or 40 seconds waiting for an RKO.
Or even the thimble to come jumping off the top.
Yeah, no.
Thimble. Yeah. And that was teased the entire match. Like she was trying to figure out how to get the trash can on her. There was even some confusion with her and Bailey. Like she wanted Bailey to hand her the trash can and she screwed that up. But you start off with two greats in the ring with Bailey and Becky, and they had a good 5 minutes of just beating the hell out of each other and trying to get that one-ups. It's kind of weird though. I won't lie. It's really weird to watch a War Games match where the face team gets the advantage because it's always the heel team gets the advantage in any War Games match. So it was really weird seeing Bailey get 2-on-1. And then it was also kind of weird that the face team were also the ones that first incorporated like the chairs and everything. And they got a 2-on-1 advantage and they're using them on the one heel. Kind of itchy. I did like the spot in the middle where Bailey was in between the rings, and I think it was Shotzi and Becky laced into her with the kendo sticks.
Yeah,
I liked that spot because it was putting Bailey in a hard place.
So I know they don't do headshots anymore, but Jesus Christ, somebody needs to tell them with that trash can lid that you can't just be swinging that around. You're gonna smack somebody in the head, and I'm pretty sure a couple people got nailed in the head. What was it, Io or was it Kyrie that was swinging the?
Yeah, I agree. They swing those things a little rapidly, but I think it's because they're so lightweight and they're just swinging them.
It's like a
Shotzi, I guess, gets a shout out for being like the one that takes the miss the most.
Yeah.
I'm still not a fan. She's just her chair shots with Bailey was like, Jesus, would somebody just show her how to lay in a chair shot? Because
one of them she outright missed.
It was like a Hulk Hogan chair shot, and I'm taking a dig at Hulk Hogan, yes. But it's just the character's exciting and punky and everything, but like she is so off when she gets into the spotlight and is in the middle of the ring and with literally we could look at this and say which one of these do not belong, and it's Shotzi, unfortunately. The character's great, the gimmick's awesome, but her in-ring just is lacking. And I don't know how they would fix that. I mean, I think they enjoy her and they like her, which is fine with me. I guess it's just not one of those matches that I'm going to tune into to watch if she's in it.
Yeah, I like you said, I like her. I like her charisma, the way she
the bit with the tank is hilarious.
Yeah, especially when she's blowing it up in somebody's face.
Let's also not squander away from how great this match was, but we also got the best friend tea party back. If you remember,
where was that from? Because I remember it from a while ago, but I don't remember exactly where it was from. But they were just sitting on the cage doing it.
When Charlotte and Becky were best buddies, it was the tea party.
Oh, okay.
They always had tea, and for them to hug it out. If they really mended fences and they're being friendly again, great. I want to see Charlotte and Becky as the women's tag team champions.
Was there actual real animosity between them?
Much so, a lot. Because one one couldn't be the top dog with the other one still being there. The one had to outshow the other ones. They both want the top spot. They're Austin and Rock. That's what they are. They're Austin and Rock. But I mean, all in all, it was a great match, great finish. Bailey sacrificed herself. I don't think the judge or the Damage Control will see it that way.
I thought they were going to boot her out last night. I really did.
She did sacrifice herself, and then she took everybody's finish, including that awful manhandle slam off the top rope through the table. But I think what we're leading to is that Damage Controlled group is going to say, Bailey cost us WarGames. They're going to kick Bailey. And there's that rumor going around that that certain Monet woman could possibly be coming back to the WWE. And I would not be shocked if we don't get the 4 Horsewomen versus Damage Control at WrestleMania in an 8-man women's tag match. I can see it happening. That way, Becky and Charlotte and Bailey are on the card for WrestleMania, but none of them are in a title match. I could see it happening. I could also see Io end up dropping the women's championship in that before that to one of them.
Do you see Charlotte and Becky having tag titles?
I would love
that was talked about last night.
I would love to see Charlotte and Becky as women tag team champions. That would elevate that women's tag team titles to an ungodly level, because as much good work as Chelsea Green and Piper Niven are doing with the tag titles, because Chelsea's trying her damnedest to make them over, it's just not working, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
The injury really hurt that.
TJ, I said her name wrong. What's her name again?
Chelsea Green.
He had to do the whole.
Yeah. So
I really think the injury of that original tag team has hurt that run.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna give this 3 3/4 of a star for this match.
3.75 out of 5.
Yes. I'm glad you just did the math. Yeah.
Well,
it wasn't the greatest. It had its moments, but for tonight,
it had a couple weird spots.
Yeah.
It did, but I feel like this was the better WarGames match of the night.
And I feel like just because we know how this world works, I'm shocked that women aren't bitching that they got 4 women instead of 5 women. Just saying.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Especially when Dakota was kind of moving around, I didn't see the knee brace. Granted, we know she's still recovering.
Well, she had pants on, so the knee brace was under the jeans.
You think so? I mean,
yeah.
She played a role, though. She did have an effect on the match.
She's been hurt this whole time, and she's been playing roles. She hasn't really been sidelined the whole time. The only thing she hasn't done is taken shots or...
called her, AJ, the day of Io's moment, and was like, hey, you need to get here.
Yeah.
And, literally flew her to them. I think they expedited that play.
So I'm gonna give it a 4. Like I said, I think this was the better WarGames match of the night. It had more high spots. There were a couple low spots with some of the drawn out moments, but I thought this was the better WarGames match, and it kick-started the whole pay-per-view to the point where the whole group I was watching the show with was hyped the rest of the night.
Yeah. I mean, the beginning 5 minutes while they beat the hell out of each other really drew out, but it played its role perfectly. What do you give it?
I'm just gonna slide in somewhere between the two of you. There was a couple weird spots. There's a spot where the faces have the weapons, and then all of a sudden they basically all drop the weapons, and the heels end up with the weapons. And it was kind of weird. It's like, how did we just go from y'all getting beat down with weapons to you essentially died, in front of our eyes for no explanation other than that somebody was coming in the ring. The finish of that match was a little weird. Bailey takes the hit for Kyrie, which you would think would have then in turn led to Kyrie at the right moment breaking up the pin, but she kind of just disappears into the background, not ever having taken a bump.
Yeah.
So it was a little odd how that, I expected it. I expected that to be the finish, but I thought it was weird how they didn't have her at least when she got shoved away, hit like a trash can or something. It just didn't explain her not attempting to break the pin up. I mean, she basically sat there and watched Bailey eat all of those finishers and get pinned.
So for the Wrestling with Nerds,
could be part of the plan.
the whole first
Maybe.
match, the women's WarGames match, averages out about a 3.85 out of 5. So we liked it. There were a couple map moments, but overall, it was a very enjoyable match. Ryan, what's match number dos?
Match 2 was for the Intercontinental Championship. It was The Miz versus Gunther.
The Ring General Gunther. I hope to God the mic got it all.
It did. It did. It actually did. I'm actually kind of surprised. Before we go any further and really get into it, chat room is open. Talk to us. We want to hear what your thoughts on the pay-per-view were. Right now we have Gary Wells saying, hey, it's the bearded guys. And then Mike Campigio, I'll get to yours later on because right now it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's more of the surprise.
Is he piling on the pachyderm already?
He's already on top of the freaking elephant.
But yeah, the next match was Gunther and Miz Intercontinental title. TJ, your thoughts?
This was good. I liked this match. It was fun. This was like Gunther didn't see the Miz as a credible threat to him, but anybody
Damn right now does.
anybody else is like, dude, this guy wins this match. He's tied Chris Jericho for reigns. In the course of his history, he's held the belt about as much time as you have. Like, you're not taking him seriously. You should be. And I think that was kind of the point of this. I think it ended the way it needed to. I think, though, this may be the beginning of the end. Maybe. The WWE can swerve it. Of Gunther's title reign.
Covering your ass. You're really taking on a Meltzer role right now.
I just feel like it's time he drops that belt and elevates to the next level. They kind of mentioned it in the press conference a little bit. They even mentioned, hey, who's your next opponent? And he's like, whoever qualifies. And I think that might end up being a rather larger star that is more than capable of removing this belt from him. They've kind of fed him. I mean, we had a big feud with Gable. We've now feuded with Miz, and Miz has been mid-card for quite a while, but he's prestigious mid-card.
He's high mid-card.
Right. I mean, he's got the credibility, and I think, we're at that point of like, okay. I mean, could he, in theory, hold multiple titles? Yes. Do I think that should happen? God, no. So hopefully they feel the same way.
So there was a point in this match, and as the three of us talked about in a past episode where we covered The Miz. It's an actual episode where we talked about the career of The Miz up into literally that point. But holy shit, I was cheering, I was hoping, knew he wasn't going to win. But what if he did?
And it's weird having him back in the face role.
He's good whatever you want him to be.
Right, but how long has it been since he's been like the face? You know what I mean? It's the Shane feud a couple years ago?
Probably. But holy shit, when everything started turning his way, that skull-crushing finale, and, he goes and does it again, I was like, he's got it. He's fucking got it. And then they got me.
And no interference. I thought that was interesting. No interference.
They weren't even there.
Right.
Yeah, but that makes Gunther look stronger when there's no need for interference. It means he didn't take Miz seriously and figured he didn't need it. How do I put this? I like Gunther. I like his in-ring work. I like that we're seeing the mic skills of Gunther, but this build for this longest streak is just, it's mundane.
It's ran its course.
He's had 2. And if you can find me another ones, I'd love to hear it in the chat. 2 viable people challenge him for that Intercontinental title.
Miz and who?
Drew.
Abel?
Well, I'm sorry. I'll give you 3. I'll go back to August. I'll give you 3. August of last year. Okay. He's had 3 people. Sheamus, Drew, and now The Miz. That is the 3 people that has challenged him for that Intercontinental title that you could possibly think, okay, they may beat him.
I was really. I know Gable's not in there with you, but I was really hoping that Gable would have.
That
came
was
through.
Gable's best work. That was Gable's best work.
Listen, Kurt Gable is not there yet. He's very, very close. He is very, very close. As much fun as we're having with the Alpha Academy gimmick and Maxine and Otis and all that stuff, the moment he gets serious and starts playing the serious role, then I'll take him as a viable challenger for anything. Because I love Chad Gable.
It'll be a sad day.
He is a smaller version of Kurt Angle, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, he is.
Because I love me some.
But
Thank you.
it is time, if you're gonna take Gunther to that next level and make him a valuable competitor for the World Heavyweight Championship, which is what everybody should be striving for. He has to start facing that upper echelon wrestlers. He does not do that. There are plenty of faces, and we saw them in the men's WarGames, that could viably challenge for that Intercontinental title. And if Gunther beats him, it elevates Gunther. And if Gunther finally loses the Intercontinental title, we have people that could be the Intercontinental champion.
Randy?
I would go more Jay and Sammy.
Okay. I would have thought maybe Randy having a good feud with that.
The other three are on a level all on their own.
Yeah.
They're on that main event level, no matter belt or no belt. But Sammy and Jay challenging Gunther for the Intercontinental title as we go on would be fantastic, in my opinion. It's time for Gunther to go above himself to get challengers instead of everybody below him. He's gotten to the same level, but he hasn't gone above himself yet. And that's the one thing I'm waiting for this Intercontinental title run.
He mentioned the Rumble in the press conference, if you watched it.
Well, he mentioned the Rumble, saying being in the Rumble, because somebody asked him a question about what's the possibility of him possibly going for a world title. He goes, well, if I'm in the Rumble, there's always a good chance.
I mean, he was right there at the end last year.
I mean, I'll go ahead and put it out there because I've seen it plenty. If you're going to keep him on this unstoppable role, keep it until Mania. He's not going to win the Rumble. I mean, I like the idea that was last year tossed around, and this year would be viable for him. There is a certain big farm country guy that's up in Canada, that could be not challenged for an Intercontinental title because that would be below him, but you give me Gunther and Brock at WrestleMania, and I'd be one happy camper.
Just to see that slugfest.
Mm-hmm.
Ow.
Live. Boys.
Ow.
Live.
my chest.
I mean, this match was good. The Miz did a great job. I'll never downplay what The Miz does as being bad because I enjoy The Miz. He's probably the hardest working guy in WWE as far as that goes.
Absolutely.
He's got marbles. He's got big marbles.
I mean, we all three went into this match kind of knowing what the finish was going to be. I'm going to give this 2 stars.
I like them both. I actually liked the build for this match a little bit, where Gunther wasn't taking The Miz seriously, and The Miz basically slapped him in the mouth and says, you have to take me seriously. And for them to actually get me to think, holy shit, it might happen, and then just rip the rug right out of me, out from right underneath me, I'm going to give it a 3. I really enjoyed the story they were telling in that ring, even though, you know, you're expecting more out of Gunther with his competitors now. DJ?
Well, you mentioned ripping the rug right out from underneath it because they had to put it on Santos Escobar the next match. I'm going to give it a 3 too.
We're going to change this up. We're no longer doing stars because we're not David fucking Meltzer. We're going to do championship. It's championships.
We'll do
3
titles.
belts out of 5.
Championships.
What belt are we using? It matters.
Well, can you use your big gold, you big crybaby?
You know, I really need to make a graphic now for the next time we do this.
We're going to have the Universal, the Heavyweight, the Intercontinental, US, and
I mean, I
24/7.
I wasn't looking. I mean, I just wasn't into like the match was good. I just wasn't into it. I already you knew Gunther was gonna win.
Well, that's even though you know who's gonna win, it's the story in the moment that they were telling that really got me going and
I
really
mean, I
had
did
me
like
enjoy it.
I did enjoy the old school rip the turnbuckle off, use the turnbuckle exposed, all that stuff.
My
But
balls.
But it didn't come into play. Not enough.
yeah,
I think it was more of a
um,
distraction. Knee kick and then balls kick.
so
Well, Miz tried to drive him into it, but it just didn't work.
Mm.
Gunther's too thick.
so next up was Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar, and what TJ's doing right now is what TJ did do through this match. So we won't get a review out of him.
So
I give it a Z.
Gary in in the YouTube chat, guys, you have Twitch, you have Facebook, and YouTube. Said best pay per view of 2023, and it is very much up there. It is very much up there. But let's get into this snooze fest of a match. I didn't hate it. I really didn't. I really like Escobar's heel, the way he's being a heel.
Yeah.
I got a Snapchat as the match was starting. Somebody messaged me, "Is that the rug from Aladdin that he's wearing?" Let AJ die.
That's bad.
Continue.
That's horrible. And I like Dragon Lee. I really do think Dragon Lee has a big future. And I like Escobar. I love him as a heel. I loved his turn. And he's just doing great work, because he's also doing the crowd work as he's beating up Dragon Lee.
Yeah. This match I rated it just a little bit higher than Gunther and Miz. I gave this one a 2.5 stars. I enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed Lucha Libre style wrestling, even though this wasn't a whole lot of Lucha Libre, but it had enough.
Hey TJ, what are you doing awake? There you go.
The short notice of this one, because originally it was supposed to be Carlito and Santos, just made it kind of awkward, I guess. I enjoy
I wanted to see that.
I enjoy Dragon Lee's work as much as everybody else does. I mean, him and his brothers are all really good wrestlers, and he proves he's just the smart one and went to the WWE. Santos' heel turn, this is the start of it, so I kind of expected him to go over. To build TJ. for this Santos, and I think he's going to bring in two new guys or two older faces that we might remember to take on the LWO. But it worked for me. It was good. It filled the gap. We don't need anything from TJ.
Okay, well, before we go on to the next match, Ryan, there's a game we like to play with all our buddies and that we've been keeping track of on the podcast as well. Do you have it in front of you, or do you need to pull it up?
I can pull it up.
Because after every pay-per-view, we've covered what the point standings are. Let's run them down as of after Survivor Series WarGames, because we had 2 perfect pay-per-views.
I promise he's not polishing his own dome here.
I just say this is definitely, he wouldn't go over this if it wasn't for the fact.
We've always gone over it.
Yeah, but you're hitting it extra hard here.
Yeah,
well there's 2 of us. There's 2 of us that had perfect pay-per-views. Because somebody had to pick Dragon Lee.
Yeah, the 2 pay-per-views that were perfect were me and AJ. I put my name first. I know that's not proper, but the hell with it.
You're fine. It's still a perfect pay-per-view. Fuck off.
So technically, AJ is now leading with our points of 63. Our Darren and Sean have 60. Jess has 58, which is AJ's better half, of course.
I don't know how.
Really TJ and myself are tied with 56.
Fucking Dragon Lee.
Ed has 52. And then Lou has 47. And then unfortunately Ron and Joe drag up the bottom of our list with 35 points.
Now I was trying.
Ron's is probably because he forgot to pick. Joe has just had unfortunate luck.
Ron remembered to pick this time and actually was 1 pick off from a perfect pay-per-view, which I think we would have had like a Macy's Day Parade for him for that one. But
But that was Thursday, so
Joe also
too late.
started later.
He got a good little bump in though.
But I tried telling him, I go, Joe, you're not out of it. Rumble's coming up.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Rumble's coming up, and
Yep,
we've
so-
seen how big of a wild card that freaking thing is.
Yep. In case you guys didn't know, it's just a friends pick 'em that we do. We run WrestleMania to WrestleMania for seasons. Royal Rumble has a little different rules, and that's usually the wild card of our whole season.
It can quite
But
literally
it's
win
fun.
you or
I
cost
think-
you the championship.
I think next year we might open it up and try to make a bigger thing out of this. So we'll see what
With
we
some
do
of our
from there.
viewers, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Comment
But,
below, let us know.
Yeah. So that's what our pick'ems are for right now.
Promise that
let's
wasn't a
go.
stroke. That was just me winking into the camera.
So with our final singles match of the night, we had for the for the Women's World Championship.
Oh, I'm gonna reenact how this happened for me.
Actually, wait. Ryan, don't go into it. I need to pull something up for a second. Don't go right into it yet.
Besides your sleeves,
Well, yeah, because I was tired of them dragging.
I'm
But
kind of scared for you to pull up your sleeves.
I gotta find it. Give me a sec. But continue to kill time.
No, we'll wait on you.
Oh,
That way
yeah.
it's
Ryan,
more pressure.
what woke TJ up in this match?
I swear to God, if you say it, I'm gonna smack you.
I don't think we're allowed to talk about that.
I'm just saying, you use them in the gym.
Oh, the barbells. Got you.
There it is. All right, Ryan,
Oh.
talk about it.
All I could say is when she walked out in chaps, my jaw hit the floor.
And there it is, everybody. There it is. Ryan Fry. My God, she's wearing chaps.
When she come out wearing chaps, But it was for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, we're talking about Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. Yeah, if you missed it, Rhea had the wardrobe of the night. Unfortunately, not the wardrobe malfunction of the night, but I
My
digress.
God. Dude, let me just say, I had still kind of was like half out of it from the slumber of Santos and Dragon Lee, and I heard, dude, you can see her barbells, and I went from here to what? And like the snap of a finger. And then I was
Yeah.
like
Ah,
Yeah, this match was fantastic in every way, shape, or form. It was really good back and forth. I know Rhea and her piercing, she needs to like put super glue on her
no,
ears.
she doesn't need to do a damn thing.
Well, no, her ears.
yeah,
not- not
her gauge
her
popped out.
gauges. Her gauge popped out again. But I thought it was a fantastic match between these two. They went at it.
We know
Not a
what we're
lot of
gonna
high-
get. We know what we're
And
gonna
they
get
had
from
the
Rhea.
war paint. I didn't see a lot of war paint last night. They had the war paint.
They were in the WarGames matches. But no, we know what we're gonna get from Rhea. Fantastic matches, 100%. But this, even in a loss, this was Zoe's coming out party. I think she can.
Yeah,
hang.
this was
It started with Trish
yeah,
and
this-
her, and
I was thoroughly impressed with her last night. It was a great back and forth match. Kind of there towards the end, you got to thinking maybe Zoe's gonna knock her off, catch her off guard, because like she said in the promos, Rhea's been so preoccupied with everything Judgment Day that maybe she'll catch her with that. I think it's Zoe. Was it the Zoe 360 or whatever her finish name is? I can't remember.
Yeah,
it's not
good
the
luck.
101. I know that.
But unfortunately, it didn't pan out for her. Rhea hits her with the Riptide, pins her the way any man ever wants to be pinned by Rhea Ripley.
I can't bend like that, but I'll take it.
I don't care. Push me until I
I'll
break.
try once.
I'll dislocate hips for it. I don't care.
TJ, you're
I-
like the
I
turkey. Just
I enjoyed this. I'm giving this one 2.75.
I'll give it a 3. I was very much impressed with Zoe. Very much. And just Rhea alone, like I said, you know what you're gonna get from her.
I mean, her wardrobe alone is a 10.
It's
A tan! A freaking tan! Oh my. Dude, I think Zoe Stark has the potential with the proper help to get there of being someone on par with like a Stone Cold Steve Austin style character where she could easily carry that kind of thing if helped to be there. She has this hidden charisma. She can work her ass off.
Mhm.
I mean, we're talking less than a year ago. She's in the Rumble, and that's like, if you hadn't been paying attention to NXT, who is this? And like, now she's taking on Rhea Ripley less than 12 months later and legitimately pushing her to the edge. I like her. I hope they don't just throw her into oblivion now that Rhea beat her and they keep her relevant some way, somehow, either another shot at it
See,
or
that's the
whatever.
biggest thing I'm afraid of. You get here, you lose, and then
Which, I mean, they used to do that though. You used to come in, if you fought for the title, and if you lost, you went to the back of the line. It wasn't a bad time to be
but
that
I'm more
way.
afraid of her just dropping off the face of the earth.
Right. Right. That's my fear. And I like I said, I like her. I think she has potential megastar ceiling if they just help her get over that hump and just get her more time. I mean, like you said, it's less than 12 months on the main roster. She looks great.
Yeah.
The mic skills are there. Like, just don't fumble the ball on this one.
TJ, how many titles are you giving this one?
A 3.
Yeah.
I like this. I think I liked this more, and not just because of the eye candy. I liked this more than the other 2 singles matches.
All I have to say is got milk.
You were holding that for how long? How long were you waiting to say that?
Since last night.
Oh, and I've got another comment that relates to this match when we get to the men's WarGames match.
Which
All
we're
right.
at.
Well,
It's men's
speaking of
WarGames.
the men's WarGames match, shit, this was a good one. I really enjoyed how they didn't show Randy at all until Randy happened. But let's kind of get into it. Brian, break it down. You do it so well. Let's go for it.
Well, we started off with the Rollins and Finn. Great. You're starting off with 2 great workers. I was kind of shocked. I was kind of shocked Cody didn't take the Dusty role in the War Games. If you're familiar with old 80s, the original War Games, it was always Dusty in a group versus the Horsemen, it seemed like all the time. And the War Games started off every year, every time it was Dusty and Arn, pretty much every single time. So I'm kind of shocked Cody didn't take that Dusty role in that situation. We heard in his press conference though, he said that it never hit him until he was in the little cage. That everything going on today. Shout out to his father-in-law who's sick. Prayers for that one.
Hey, yeah, we heard about Otis.
It was in a cage, and he thought, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm in my dad's match." So that was kind of a take back from that. This match it had its moments.
Nate, I love you, by the way. They haven't seen it yet because nobody has the chat up, but
I
Facebook DJ.
This match was just solid. The one thing that I took away from it was the reveals at the end of the match kind of eliminated everybody's thoughts of the match, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I thought it very much foreshadowed.
I mean, yes, I loved Randy's return. Randy coming back's great. That whole way played out was fantastic. The buzzer goes off, nothing. Crickets. I mean, that place was dead quiet, waiting to hear. I hear voices. And then it's My Brutality, Judgment Day music comes on. Rhea comes running down. This is after Judgment Day had wiped everybody out of Cody's team. I think he put Rollins through a table.
Yeah, with the
With the
Razor's Edge.
with the Razor's Edge. It was time. I think it would have been very cool if he would have cashed in the middle of War Games. It wouldn't have ended War Games because Randy hadn't made it to the ring yet. But we had a world title change in War Games. Would have been really freaking cool to see.
I would have loved to have
That
seen
would have
it.
been super unique.
I'm okay with them not doing it, but son of a bitch, that would have been awesome.
But it's perfect timing. Rio runs down with the referee, Maryland native Jessica Clark. Shout out to her. Or Carr, I'm sorry. Shout out to her.
She's
Brings
great
her
on
down to the
TikTok too.
ring and is going to cash in. And like Jessica's standing there with the briefcase and she looks at Damien and says, "Are you sure?" And just as she says, "Are you sure?" Boom. I hear voices in my head kicks on. And it was kind of like, well, yeah, like this ain't happening. There's no the cash in ain't happening now.
And then you see
And
Randy, and he
yeah,
is.
he was swole. He is that still a term, swole?
I
well,
think so.
Usually not for the body. Usually it's for. Never mind.
But I mean, Randy comes in, does what Randy does best. Comes back in. All five guys do the rope DDT to all of Judgment Day.
That was cool.
Poor Lord Farquaad gets his ass handed to him, and then they get the great idea of let's put him up in the corner of the cage and
Throw
toss him off. And I give
one, a
JD
two, a three.
I give JD all the credit in the world. That
No,
was
AJ, as Jey Uso would say, yeet.
that was a flat stomach bump off of the top of the cage, trusting that Randy was gonna at least somewhat catch him in an RKO because he's a little off if you watch it, and hope to God he doesn't uppercut him in the mouth before he hits the mat. So big props for JD for that spot. Randy looks at Cody, which is what you guys know is my favorite thing, is that whole legacy connection between them two.
All back.
And just
High
said,
fives and.
high fives, you do it, and hits Crossroads on Damien, pins him 1, 2, 3.
Hold on, time out. There's a certain point in that match before we end it where he's down for the RKO and Jey Uso turns around.
Oh,
Well,
he
he
turned
turns
towards Jay.
He turns towards Jay, and you're just waiting for it. And he just, you can hear him mumble things to him like, I'm watching you. And just as he stands up, Jay super kicks. I think was it Drew? Somebody comes running in from behind and he super kicks him.
I think it was Drew.
To stop him.
Just kicks his fucking head right off.
Yeah, and then you get everybody hits their finishers on things, and like always, and good win by the face group. You get them cheering. I know I've heard rumors about Randy and Jay breaking kayfabe and hugging and all that stuff. I kind of think they made amends on that moment, but I also think that Randy doesn't forget. So
no,
there's that.
Randy,
the Viper. The Viper
Randy's-
can turn at any time.
Randy's got the memory of an elephant.
Well, I think there might be something worth noting here
is
before we get to the pachyderm.
Is it an elephant with 3 stars and like 2 stripes on its back?
Well, before we get to the big elephant, TJ?
Do we want to touch on Drew and his seeming like?
Hold on, let's give our rating of the match. Because I'm giving it 4 titles.
I match it up with the women's match. I think the women's match was better to a point, but I still think what happens at this match and the end of it and all of it together, you give it a 3.
Yeah, I think this match is, like you said, both are 4s for me, but for slightly different reasons. I felt like this match was a little more smooth.
Yeah.
Well, with the quality of talent in the ring, that would make sense. But I think the other one had more energy. I would rate the other one just a smidge higher.
So would you give it 4.5 titles on your end?
But I wonder how much of that being down from the crowd audience part was because they were still expecting the Willie Mammoth to come out. And they're thinking the show's over, which is great play. Oh my god.
But we also, I don't know, do we want, so the Drew moment,
I don't think I think everybody's reading into that too much. If you go back, we've all seen the TikTok videos and the reels. If you watch the camera guy has his hand down to his side and he's waving Drew on like to get out. I think I think Hunter is being very smart on this. Hunter is using social media to keep kayfabe. As much as kayfabe is dead, he is using social media platforms to keep kayfabe, keep people thinking.
There's a lot of kayfabe we're about to
So,
talk about, people.
I think Hunter does a really good job of that because he understands. He's the one thing that Vince never could do is adjust with the times to keep it still. Was
that's
that
this
what it
day
was
and
supposed
age.
to be? Was that supposed to happen? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I think Hunter has done a really good job at making the social media posts that fans post and turning them into the kayfabe, letting them think their own things about it. Like we just did. I mean, was the cameraman really waving him on, or was he blowing a fart out? Who knows? But anyhow, I think Hunter's doing a really is doing a good job if that's the case he's going. I mean, the messages, the hidden messages on backstage areas is now become a thing. You don't just watch the guy walk down the hallway. You're now looking at the hallway. You're looking at the box in the hallway. You're looking
Because
for
you never know.
any little Easter egg you can find of something you're looking for. I mean, hell, we're talking about the elephant. I mean, for weeks we've seen nothing but or heard little Easter eggs from Rollins,
So
from Cody. We had a thing where Cody walked backstage. I saw this and I couldn't believe it. Cody walks backstage through a door. The door is open and it has 3 stars on the door. And somebody's like, "Oh, that's a sign the Punk's coming back." It's like now you got to pay attention. It's not just, hey, we got to watch what's in the ring. Now you have to pay attention to everything on that television.
So before we get to the pachyderm, there's this shot that WWE has, and it's TJ's background. TJ, you're gonna explain this the best out of all of us. Go for it.
This is a subtle dig at AEW at the core.
Wait, what's AEW stand for the people that don't know?
This is me, not the world. Arena Empty Wrestling. The hard cam side, I'm pointing to it because it's on my second screen. The hard cam camera pulls back as far and as deep as it possibly can. And I paused this and screenshotted this for this very moment because those lights turn red with a purpose. Because the next thing on that video board is CM motherfucking Punk's logo. And this arena goes insane.
I guess
and
we're going right into it,
you
people.
would never see in all elite wrestling? This side of the arena going insane.
Well,
unless of course it's London.
I don't have a shovel.
Well,
Sorry.
that's it, everybody.
I was waiting for you to bury.
Punk came back. As everybody heard that it was maybe gonna happen, that it was a possibility, I was on the side with, I really don't want him to come back. I really don't. And then with talking to TJ and Ryan last night till about 2:30 ish, let's see what he does.
And AJ, they pulled a Marvel moment on you. The credits were rolling. This is a post-credits scene.
Yeah, and Hunter, again, going back to Hunter, and that's why I love with him being in the position he's in. He's done this before. He did it at Cardiff. He gave you that sneak peek of Drew and Tyson Fury in the ring at Cardiff. They play on the end of this show now to make it work. I am not a CM Punk fan. I very rarely ever was a CM Punk fan. But he looks like he's in better shape than he's ever been in, at least for the last 10 years. I'm hoping that this CM Punk is like what Cody said. He's hungry. He's not just going to collect a paycheck and waddle his way through the matches.
The thing is, the talent's there. It's more the attitude.
Well, I think that's what I mean. I think as to use his own promo that he used in AEW against MJF. I think CM Punk figured out that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And now he realizes WWE is the place to be. Whether you hate it or not, but I don't hate AEW. I dislike a lot of what they do as far as stories because I'm a story guy. Their
They
in-ring
they
stuff
don't know how
is
to finish them.
fantastic.
They don't know how to finish a story. They also
But
don't know how to book.
I mean, I like me and TJ follow a guy on TikTok, Santi. He's awesome. He put it best on Twitter last night. How would pissed off would you be if you were the guy that made sure you watched AEW last night
Oh
and,
my God! You
and
watched Collision
watch their
over
3 hours of
Survivor
TV
Series.
instead of watching Survivor Series?
Speaking of
Uh,
watching Collision, if CM Punk came back to AEW, Brian, would you like to talk about the asshole on the internet?
I just wish Ryback would just go away. As far as like what I like to say to some people, he should take a long walk off a short pier. It's just I can't stand him. But I digress. If you guys want to hear my rant about Ryback, tune in. Was it last Friday? Yeah, tune in last Friday for my rant on Ryback. It was a good one. I hope Ryback listens to it and his Tree of Life or whatever the hell book he's reading these days.
So, just so you guys know, this is a little behind the scenes. I'm sharing the broadcasting screen in Discord so you could see all the comments and what's actually on screen to make it easier for you guys. TJ, this one is for you.
Oh boy. Why is there people on the hard cam side? Oh man.
Just had to throw the meme out there because it's been absolutely everywhere. But the only issue I have with Punk coming out at WarGames, I understand why they did it. Like I just said, wasn't a huge fan of him coming back, but I feel like everybody leading up through that men's WarGames match, they were hyped, they were excited, but then it's all CM Punk. That's it. I felt like, hey, the faces just won. Well, fuck the faces. CM Punk's back.
Yeah, but like we said though, that post credit ran. So the show's over. That now it's time for the real stuff in that aspect.
Well, speaking of that real stuff, do we want to talk about Seth being held back by Corey Graves and Michael
There was
Cole?
a lot of you mentioned the social media aspect of this, night and how it played out. There was a lot of social stuff last night. The Seth Rollins moment you're talking about. They caught Rhea on the side of the ring. Somebody got her.
Flipping her off.
She gave the camera the finger.
She was playing it off. Randy grabs a chair in the ring and is like kind of,
Punk does
that's funny. Yeah, Punk does
right.
That was a misconception that I've seen is they Punk did the Orton arm raise thing and then waved, and everybody assumed that he was waving at Rollins, and that's what set Rollins off. He wasn't waving at Rollins. He was waving at Randy sitting in a chair in the ring going, come on, I want to go to the back. Get out of my way. I think the Seth thing is a little more of a build because I think we're going to get Seth and Punk.
They've had a Twitter rivalry for years.
Well,
and it's been talked
about. Rumble or Mania.
I hope so. I hope so. But remember, Rollins had a very outspoken issue with Cody when Cody came back.
Yeah, and they teased it all night long that it was them getting along for just this night.
One night.
Yeah, I mean we've seen the interview that Rollins did years ago where I think it was Phil Houseman or Nick Houseman or whatever asked him about Phil Brooks, and his comment was that he's a cancer. Stay away. I don't want you. So we shall see, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
They are both going to be on Monday Night Raw. Both
it's already
Randy
advertised.
and CM Punk. Yeah, it was already advertised.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to sit back tight, have my popcorn ready. I'm gonna
Hopefully,
listen.
hopefully
listen.
CM Punk is the first thing that comes out,
I'm
so we
gonna.
can
I'm
see
gonna.
it and then broadcast.
I'm gonna listen to Punk drop some probably Tony Khan fuck yous and AEW sucks and all that kind of stuff because we're probably gonna get it. But it's gonna be interesting, guys. I know the road to WrestleMania doesn't start until the Royal Rumble, but I feel like remember how we had that conversation about Survivor Series is kind of like that pay per view that doesn't connect the dots.
Mhm.
I think Triple H made it connect the dots. I don't think the road to WrestleMania starts at Rumble. The road to WrestleMania has started at
He
Survivor
certainly
Series.
threw it a bull rope.
You did that. Very clever. Very clever. I actually had to explain what a bull rope was to the HSR
Okay,
guys. That was cool.
Whoa. I'm dying to know what is a bull rope, AJ.
Isn't it? Don't they wrap it around their necks?
No,
No, that's not that one.
no.
What was the one they used last night?
That was a bull rope.
I th-
You don't wrap it around their neck.
Was that a dog collar? The dog collar
Yeah.
match?
A bull rope you wrap around a bull rope in wrestling is a strap match. A bull rope in general is a rope that they use for rodeos.
Oh, no, I was
strapped to
talking
the
about the
back of a
wrestling one,
bull.
stupid.
Well, either way, you were wrong because it doesn't go to the neck; it goes to the wrist.
Goes to the wrist.
Yeah,
Whatever.
good try. I was wondering if your Yankee self would know what a bull rope was.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's used more for the feet, right?
No, a bull rope is used. It goes across the center of the bull, and that's what the riders hold on to for a bull rope.
Gotcha.
No, I wouldn't have known that one.
Yeah,
At least I was in the ballpark for the wrestling one.
yeah. I'll give you a half a point, half star.
Yes. Yes. So
No, I
before
meant
we
half a
Didn't
point,
it-
and you're half a star.
Wasn't there a time where the bull rope in a match was used like if you ended up with more of the rope or the rope over a certain point in the ring, that's how you won?
No, the way
That's
they
called tug
normally
of
work,
war.
the way they normally worked was it worked kind of the same way as a strap match to a sense sometimes because you know how wrestling is they can change the rules on the fly. Most of the times it was just you were strapped to your partner or opponent with a bull rope and you could use it as a weapon because you went for the bell. You'd pin them and it'd be over with. But most strap matches and everything used to always be you had to touch the top of all four corners. to win the
Oh,
match.
I remember
JBL and
that.
Batista was in one on SmackDown.
And
Because
you always
it-
got and you
Get the
always
moment
got
you're almost there and yank them
yeah,
back.
well no, you would always get the spot where like the guy that's got the advantage would start hitting turnbuckles and he'd hit the three and he wouldn't be paying attention to his buddy or his opponent and that guy would be hitting all three and then they would get to the last one and like the guy that was down would like run and sprint jump over the guy that was going to win and hit the turnbuckle. That's happened a lot. Or they fall into the turnbuckle. But anyway, guys, it's been great. It's our Survivor Series review.
Hold on.
AJ, where can they find you?
We ain't done yet.
What are we missing?
Our overall grade.
Eh.
Because math isn't going to make complete sense here because it ain't going to make sense because I'm not doing my adding or multiplying or subtracting or dividing here. Overall pay-per-view with excitement, entertainment value, and what the matches basically were and produced. The whole pay-per-view, I'd probably give a solid 4 titles out of 5.
I'm going to go to the sleep monster down there for the next one.
Well, this is going to be a
I
little
don't know
different. He's
if
missing
I-
a match.
His
I might
average
have to
should
go
be
back
up.
and
His
might
average
have
is
to
going to
back
go up.
and
This
watch
is going to
it.
be a 4.9 show
But
for TJ
no.
because he didn't watch one match.
I mean, it's certainly. Listen, I knew I was going to fall asleep. I chose the right match to fall asleep during. I think
Dummy, yeah.
I would have to give this pay per view as a whole like a 3.5.
We're not too
It's-
far off. We're not too far off. I'm about the same thing. 3.5 belts.
Yeah,
I'll give it 3 world titles and an intercontinental.
And Nate, I don't know if he's joking around. He gives it 1.5.
It's Nate. But
Hey,
Rowan.
Nate'll just be happy there was no Paul Heyman.
yeah, he's not a big fan of the Big Walrus.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know he didn't like. I didn't know he didn't like the Penguin.
Dude, he used to mute him all the time. Anytime he'd come out, whether it was for Brock, Roman, he'd mute the TV. It was hilarious.
All right, everybody. Well, thank
guys,
you for
I think-
tuning in. Right?
I think this is our last WWE pay-per-view of the year.
They're not doing one in December.
There's not one. The only thing in December is planned is NXT Deadline.
We might have to do that.
And
But I feel
are they
like-
doing night one, which obviously is not in this year?
You mean day one?
Whatever.
I don't think so. I think that's supposed to be that new WWE experience thing with was it Raleigh, Saudi Arabia? Remember that promo last night? I think that's supposed to
I
be
might have
early
slept
in
through it.
January. You probably did. You slept through a lot.
I know they got the WWE experience that's going to be in Saudi Arabia, that whole fan experience kind of thing, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do something with that or not.
I'd like them to.
Repeat.
bring one of
Yeah,
that
I know.
to,
I know, T. You're confused. You just heard that same thing from me that you heard from him. Yes.
No, I'm more of thinking. I was like, are they going to bring those to like the major 4 events too, or is it just is that actually just going to be a
Well, we'll have
thing there?
we'll have
access.
for us. We'll have access. So, but I'm out.
All right. Peace out, people. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more Wrestling with Nerd stuff this Thursday, because completely was not able to do it last Thursday. We're talking about 2014's Agajiwa. So go check it out.
one.
It's going to be fun. We're doing the whole
Awesome.
Monsterverse on Thursday.
2014 Barney the Dinosaur.
Thank you.
I'm glad I'm the
Goodbye,
heel.
everybody.
I'm glad I'm the heel of this group.
Thank you.
Smart ass.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.